Hello. A very beautiful afternoon to all of you. And it gives me immense pleasure to be seated next to such fantastic people that I'm sitting with. That, I'm always in awe with which the kind of work they've done. I have myself done a little bit of a work, and I had the guts to leave a 100 crore company and start becoming a dean of a business school. But the kind of work, the impact that people sitting with me have made to this world is amazing. मैं एक चीज़ आपको बोलता हूँ, कुछ साल पहले तक हिंदुस्तान को कोई गिनता नहीं था, हिंदुस्तान को जेन्युइनली कोई गिनता नहीं था। आपको 1994 की बात बताता हूँ, when we used to travel for exports from India, और हम लोग APIs लेके जाते थे, तो उस वक्त कंट्रीज लाइक जापान, कोरिया, ताइवान, उनके पास हमने अपने सैंपल रखने, वो हमारे सैंपल चेक नहीं करते थे। वेल इंडिया नो, वी डोंट वांट टू डील विद इंडिया। हम कहाँ से लेंगे? यूरोप से लेंगे, अमेरिका से लेंगे। बट टुडे एज सुजॉन एज अ एम्बेसडर हैज सेड, इंडिया इज नाउ द पोल स्टार। वी आर गोइंग टू बिकम द काइंड ऑफ focus of the whole world. And a lot of people have worked in that space where everybody has contributed a bit. और वो सब contribution करते करते people have reached that stage कि India as a country is now taken so seriously कि इसको कोई avoid नहीं कर सकता. And to that end, let me introduce Ambassador Sujan, who is a career IFS, and even after he has, he's out of IFS, but still he's the longest serving director of Institute of Defense Studies and Analysis, which is actually leading to a lot of things जो हम लोग कभी कभी सोचते हैं इंडिया इतना पावरफुल कैसे हो गया वर्ल्ड में, उसमें बहुत सारी चीज़ें इनकी की हुई हैं. And I'd invite Professor Sujan first to tell us about how is it that India has now become so central? What led to this change? Sir.
Thank you very much for the kind invitation to join you today. I'm in fact sitting with friends. I can relate to Dr. Joshi because I was a member of the DRDO review committee not too long ago, and I had a chance to visit all the DRDO labs in Dehradun as part of that work. But to start with, let me acknowledge the presence of the NCC cadets. And when I see you in uniform, it's nostalgic for me because I did my senior division NCC C certificate while in college, and very narrowly joined the army. I was very keen to join the infantry. And let me just very quickly tell you that I must be the only cadet, NCC cadet in India, who was promoted straight from cadet to senior under officer. So this is a very strange thing because those that are present here who deal with the NCC will tell you it's probably not the done thing. But I was doing a camp in 1975 at a place called Mobha Road near Surat. And these were, the days when a few years after the Bangladesh war, in the NCC they still gave you the 303 rifle, to shoot, the LMG, the 7.62, LMG. And I had grown up with two things very early on, which was shooting and riding. And so after seeing my performance at the shooting range, the then acting CEO, Major Shukla, I remember him, the 3rd Gujarat Battalion NCC in Baroda, now Vadodara, called me and said that, are you the same chap who was Daina Darshak this morning? I said, yes sir. He asked the Subedar Major to bring a cross belt and put it on me. The point I'm trying to make is that the Indian Army recognizes talent. I'm not quite saying that I was very talented, but it should be a source of inspiration for all young people that the NCC teaches you so much. All that I learned in my life as Commandant Yadav said a while ago, a lot of it came from the NCC. The second confession I want to make is that after leaving the NCC, I had my hirsute looks as I do now with a beard, and though I didn't quite act in 15 or 20 films like Commandant Kulpreet Yadav did, I did act in one. And you can guess the kind of role they gave me with these looks. I was asked to be the Gujarati version of Gabbar Singh. But coming back to the theme for today, I was very happy to hear from Mr. Surana's presentation that he also recently connected with Brigadier Mohit Saxena. I'm very proud of Brigadier Mohit Saxena because about 4 years ago he spent a full year in my institute with me, and I'm immensely proud of him. I must also say that I was very glad to see that Tarini was here a while ago for General Bipin Rawat, was an outstanding Chief of Defence Staff, and I had the great privilege of delivering the second General Bipin Rawat Memorial Lecture at the Pune International Centre in the presence of the then Army Commander General A.K. Singh of the Gorkhas, not too long ago, about 2.5, 3 years ago. And it was General Rawat who very kindly, when I asked him for a tank for my old school, the Rajkumar College, Rajkot, which produced General Rajendra Singh Ji, the first CNC of the Indian Army, and many other distinguished officers, General Rawat very readily helped me. It was Brigadier Lidder, late General Brigadier Lidder, who actually processed the entire file and enabled me to go across with the DG Armored Corps, General Brar, and actually gift the tank. But why is India today relevant? And I must tell you that the first point that strikes me is that India has all along maintained strategic autonomy. In fact, we had no strategic autonomy before we achieved independence. Before 1947, we were an instrument of a colonial power, and in fact, all the great wars that we celebrate, the great sacrifices made by the armed forces of India before 1947, we have to keep reminding ourselves that we were not strategically autonomous, that we did this because of a colonial aim and objective, and that applies also to things like the battles, for example, for Beijing, the 8-nation force that went into Beijing after the Boxer rebellion and the massacre of foreigners in Beijing. In 1900, it was the Sikhs, Rajputs and Punjabis from India that led the vanguard into Beijing and fought street level battles, door to door, etc. But when we relate to China today, we must remember that they too have these memories of India and the Indian Army having acted as an instrument of a colonial power in the past. We of course have to live down that and look at the future as an independent country. One more thing I would mention about strategic autonomy is that the fact that we were non-aligned after 1947 did not mean that we could not align with countries. We did, in fact, in 1962, when China attacked us, it was India that actually approached, Pandit Nehru approached President Kennedy to seek several squadrons of fighter planes, radars, men, equipment, etc. And in 1971, our non-alignment did not prevent us from signing the Treaty of Peace, Friendship and Cooperation with the Soviet Union. So in this world in which there is great uncertainty and a lot of flux, it is India's strategic autonomy as a great civilization that allows us to engage in multi-alignment and promote a values-based future for mankind.
Thank you, Ambassador Sujan. That brings us to a very interesting thing that we did not have that autonomy, which led to us being almost like nobody's people in this world. Nobody would know. In fact, even today, if you ask, almost 50% of students in America would not know the capital of India. You'll be surprised. But still, we've come a long, long way, where students may not know, but the politicians do know us. And to that end, a lot of effort has gone into what we now call as the Atmanirbhar Bharat. Imagine that there was a time when we were begging for cryogenic engines, we were begging for nuclear fuel, we were begging, literally nobody was talking to us. But then, we had people like Dr. Joshi who have actually worked on BrahMos, and BrahMos got exported from India. We got the biggest export order at that time of $375 million, which is not a small thing. It's almost like 3,200 crore rupees, and to facilitate that kind of a deal as an exporter, let me tell you, it's such a difficult thing. But these small icons, they become the lighthouses where the world sees India. And now, may I please invite Professor Joshi to please at least give us a small hint on what led to the BrahMos deal and the Atmanirbhar Bharat that makes us so unipolar today in the world.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity. And I thank the Defense Literature Festival, and actually when I was hearing Tarani madam and Rachana madam, because I am a scientist, naturally citizen of India, but at the same time I am a poet. So from when I was of age of 14, I was writing continuously the poems, especially in Hindi. But his poet mind is emotional heart. So I can, you have touched me, and at the same time I am telling you, ma'am, and all our armed forces officers and Shinoy sir, I am not from high-ranking DRDO officer, not a young boy, but I belong to the place which bridges juniors and seniors. I can tell you, sir, any of the Shaurya Saga, if there is we feel that there is some shortcoming of weapon, if this kind of, that's why I was asking that question. If we would have some superior weapon, it would have been probably, the result would have been something else, or something else would have been done. So I can tell you, everybody every scientist thinks about this, and that time the emotion which comes exactly is like that, har ek baat pe kehte ho tum ke tu kya hai. So it is like that ki, it is a question mark on a scientist, that what we are doing, can't we do better? So naturally, in the meantime, from 1958, DRDO has done a lot, and this BrahMos story comes right from the Operation Desert Storm of Iraq War. Because at that time when Tomahawk missiles were being used by Americans, so understood that cruise missiles are important. And at that time, Dr. Kalam was there, who thought, okay, we are having all IGMDP program, Prithvi, Akash, Nag, Trishul, Agni. So these 5 missiles we are already making, but we don't have any cruise missile technology. So at that time, USSR was in a different situation, and they are having some short of money, and all these kind of stuff was there. So that's why they were ready to, and we were in search of any cruise missile or cruise missile engine or design and all these things. So at that time we got an engine, and out of which we have created a design. That's why it has come at India-Russia joint venture. At that time the indigenized content was 13%. Now it is indigenized content is 83%. But when we say indigenized, so I can't say everything is productionized. So it is near about productionized is 70% approximately. So we are in a quite better shape, and many a times still I can say that in the area of materials and electronics, these 2 major areas, if we as a country, we can make the national policy on these 2 areas. Naturally in electronics, especially in semiconductors, our Honorable Prime Minister is already thinking of, he is having big plans. But at the same time, we have to focus on these 2 areas. Only these 2 areas can change whole scenario of Indian defense industry. Yes, when we are saying about BrahMos BrahMos export program. So BrahMos export, we were trying from long. Almost we can say that when Philippines, we are saying Philippines, they are talked about from 2008-2009. It has converted into reality in 2022. So it is efforts of several years, but at the same time we say pastel. We say political, environmental, social, technological, economical and legal. These parameters fit into the situations, then things happen. So all things were good at that time, and that's why we were able to go for this BrahMos export agency.
Thank you, Dr. Joshi. And I once again bring you back to Ambassador Sujan. And Sujan has been instrumental in almost predicting that there will be a tumult in the world, and there is a global tumult which has already happened. The whole world is today upside down. Things which were not unthought of, unthinkable about 10 years back are really seeing us in the face. And India became a very powerful country, and India is now today being, referred to by everybody else. Lot of credit goes to scientists, lot of credit goes to, ambassadors who've gone across, who've made strategies, to the government who actually takes a very focused decision. But may I now once again invite Ambassador Sujan to talk about, what is his basic experience while he was an ambassador to Japan and in Shanghai. I mean, how could the whole world, particularly post Doklam, how could India become such an innovative country, and how we are where we are, because that is where the lessons are for us. Sir.
So let me actually use the BrahMos project as a point of inflection. In fact, the success of the BrahMos project straddles both Atmanirbhar Bharat in defense manufacturing and our desire to add value, be part of global supply chains and value chains. And it's a very fine example now that we have already sold 3 batteries to the Philippines. And BrahMos is also rapidly looking at the next generation BrahMos and also enhancing its range considerably from the original 290 kilometers into various versions. We are looking at 800, 1500, all sorts of things. But why are we looking at Atmanirbhar Bharat in defense manufacturing? In today's world, we have also seen examples of protracted wars. Whenever there are protracted wars, it's very important to secure your supply lines. And it's not a good idea to be vulnerable to external supply chains. During Kargil, we, long before the Ukrainians ran short of the 155 artillery shell, India had also run short of ammunition. We had the great Bofors gun, which for the first time was being employed in a direct firing kind of role against enemy targets in Kargil, but the ammunition had run out, and last minute contracts had to be signed with countries like South Africa to bring in 155 ammo. We have seen today how the same kind of situation has played out in the protracted war in Ukraine. So today it's very important that we have our own Atmanirbhar Bharat in defense manufacturing, and the government has done well to declare that 75% of all procurement will be domestic. Within that, 25% is reserved for procuring from the private sector. The role of the private sector everywhere has become extremely important. It's not just Elon Musk through his Starlink, who has entered the battlefield and can actually influence the conduct of war by either making available or not making available the Starlink network to the individual soldier. But even in India, we've seen how the private sector has come up. We are now, in fact, doing very well with regard to, for example, we make our own aircraft carriers. The Naval Design Bureau has been doing excellent work for a very long time, and the Army Design Bureau has also come up. Recently, the Zorawar light tank is another example. The ATAGs being manufactured both by Tata's and by Kalyani Strategic Systems are an example. The Pinaka rocket system.
Mahindra also came with.
Mahindras have come up with it. So all of these are doing very well, and new markets now in the United States. It's like selling coal to Newcastle, and markets like Armenia